As Canada's second smallest province, Nova Scotia might not be the first destination to come to mind for a Canadian road trip. But as the country's second most densely populated province, it won't take you long to realize how much there is to discover here. Bordering New Brunswick and just a short ferry ride from Maine, Nova Scotia is the cultural heart of the Canadian Maritimes, with a rich blend of Scottish, French, Acadian, British, and Indigenous Mi'kmaq heritage. We'd heard wonderful things about this region, but in our 6 years of RV travel, we had yet to make it there. So when Visit Nova Scotia invited us to show you why this underrated province should be at the top of your road trip bucket list, we jumped at the opportunity.
We're in Canada, baby!
Home to over 200 beaches and 4,600 miles of scenic shoreline, Nova Scotia has no shortage of breathtaking views and unforgettable experiences.
Woo! Oh my Lord! Oh my gosh!
Over the next 40 minutes, we're taking you with us on our 3.5-week road trip across Nova Scotia, sharing some of the top things to eat, see, and do.
Oh my gosh! This is incredible!
From riding waves of the world's largest tidal change to feasting on the freshest seafood, diving into local culture, and navigating the famous Cabot Trail. If you want to follow along in our footsteps, check out Visit Nova Scotia's website or grab our digital guide. It has loads of helpful tips that will save you hours of planning, including campgrounds, hikes, restaurants, and several other spots we don't share here. You can grab your copy using the link in the description below. We want to thank the Mi'kmaq Nation for allowing us to enjoy their ancestral homelands. Now buckle up, hold on, and get ready to RV Nova Scotia. You have two options for starting your Nova Scotia road trip. The first is by driving roughly 450 miles through Maine and then New Brunswick. Alternatively, for a faster, more relaxing experience, you can hop on the high-speed Cat Ferry, which runs between Bar Harbor, Maine and Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. The ferry takes about 3.5 hours and accommodates RVs and trailers of all sizes. We opted for the ferry to save on gas and reduce time behind the wheel. It's also a fun way to enter a new country. Reservations are required for the ferry with daily departures in summer and shoulder seasons.
This is so fun. 3.5 hours and we're in Canada.
Thank you, sir.
The ferry ride was well worth it. We ended up getting to Yarmouth last night around 8 p.m. Customs was a little bit tricky. We have a safe in our RV. We forget the key at home and they really wanted to see inside. They were worried we had firearms. So just make sure you're not crossing with anything that is like a prohibited item. After communicating with the officer, we were let through, but it was a little bit hairy there for a second. We made about an hour and 15-minute drive to Digby today. This is the scallop capital of the world, and it is a super charming little fishing village. They have a great little historic downtown. It's also close to several sites, and it's a fantastic spot for whale watching, which we're going to be doing. So we've just arrived to our campground, which is Digby Campground. It's recently renovated, and it is beautiful. We're right on the water, which is lush. But right now, we're going to hop in the car, and we are going to head to Fort Anne Historic Park. Nova Scotia has been the ancestral homeland of the Mi'kmaq people for millennia. In the 1600s, however, the Scottish settlers arrived and established their fort in the new land of Nova Scotia, or New Scotland. The fort was later rebuilt by the French and eventually taken over and rebuilt once more by the British, evolving into what we know today as Fort Anne National Historic Site. I'll be honest, we did not know much about Nova Scotia's complex history before visiting. We had no idea how many cultures coexisted here, sometimes peacefully, but oftentimes not. This was a really cool site. I'm glad we came. Fort Anne is definitely worth it. It's a super small entrance fee. I think it was like $6 US to get in here. And being the first historical site and fort in all of Nova Scotia, it has such fascinating history to share. I learned so much today. The town of Annapolis is also super cute. There's lots of great restaurants and shops, things like that. Afterward, we headed back to Digby to experience its world-famous seafood at one of the charming and very popular waterfront restaurants, the Crow's Nest. We sampled haddock, a popular local whitefish, along with seafood chowder and, of course, their famous scallops.
They're cooked beautifully.
Oh, I can't believe how much these tides have gone down. We're on the Bay of Fundy, which is an area that sees the largest tidal changes in the world. Here, where we're standing right now, has a 28-foot tidal change.
Yeah, where's the water? It's like water's way out there. But this morning I came out here and it was right at the edge of this grass. And now, way out there.
We're gonna have some fun tidal adventures in other parts of the Bay of Fundy. Stay tuned for that. We're on a whale watching tour. We came to Digby Neck, which is a peninsula right next to the town of Digby. You can't go further down. There's a ferry you have to take to get to the other two islands. So we opted to come to Petite Passage whale watching because they are on the first peninsula where you don't need to get on a ferry. It's gonna be like a 3 to 4 hour whale watching experience. There's loads of different whales we might be able to see. Of course, it's nature. We never know if we're actually going to see wildlife or not, but my fingers are like triple crossed, so are my toes. I really hope we get to see some whales.
Oh, straight ahead, till like 12 o'clock. Oh, there's the tail?
Successful. We got to see a humpback. So close. Oh, I can see it under the water still. That was awesome. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God! Whoa! Wow. Oh my God! Yeah!
10 out of 10. That was such an awesome experience. We must have seen at least 12 whales today up close. There was 2 groups of 3 and they were just awesome, showing off, like waving at us, laying on their back, flipping their arms. It was so cool. And we also got to see some breaching off in the distance. Really great experience. We spent like probably 4 hours out at sea, and they did such a great job of just going wherever they needed to go to get us whales. I think there's like a 95% success rate on these trips just because there's so many different types of species. Their websites will say that there's multiple times throughout the summer, but that's not always the case. It's really weather dependent, and they do book up. So definitely reserve beforehand. Okay, but we're gonna be driving about an hour and a half now into Kejimkujik. We just made it to Kejimkujik, which is short for, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the word because it's a Mi'kmaq word. It's one of Canada's national parks. It's also a National Historic Site. And dude, it is huge. There's so much to do here. We got in late last night and just hung out with our friends Greg and Karen that we're going to be doing the rest of Nova Scotia with. You might remember them from our Michigan series or from Mexico. We've done so many road trips with them and we're so excited to be here. It is like an outdoor lover's dream come true. There's biking trails, hiking trails, paddling. There's all these different interpretive activities you can do. You can learn about Mi'kmaq culture through canoe making workshops. There's also a petroglyphs tour. If you're coming in peak summer like July, August, they offer free tours to the petroglyphs. You do have to have a guide take you there. Unfortunately, we're visiting in September, which is just after the season. So they're only offering it on the weekend. We won't be here on the weekend, so we're gonna miss that for this time. But yeah, there's like off-grid camping where you can paddle out and be on this own private island. There's yurts here. It is literally paradise. So today we're going to be going to Jake's Landing. We're going to drop our paddleboard in. We're gonna kind of meander up the river and then we're going to come back, and if the wind is not too strong on the lake, we're going to venture out into the lake a little bit. But it's a huge lake. And then later we're going to go to the Big Dam hike, which is I think 5.5 kilometers round trip. We're going to load up the paddleboard onto the CRV and start paddling. This paddle is so peaceful. It's just awesome to listen to the wind rustling through all the grass, and the reflection on the river is insane.
It is really nice.
We ended up paddling for about 45 minutes, very slowly, and eventually we reached kind of like a rapid area where it was really shallow, and I think that's the spot where most people turn around.
River from Jake's Landing, it's not super far.
No.
So there's definitely way more shoreline and stuff to explore on the lake because it's huge.
There are special turtles that are an endangered species here that are native to this area. We saw someone earlier doing like a restoration project where they're trying to rehabilitate the population, but we saw one of the striped turtles, which are so cute and little. So keep your eyes peeled as you're paddling out here. I will say we're having Dennis is having a dig. I say we. I'm literally the passenger princess right now, just sitting on the front of the paddleboard.
Paddle princess.
Paddle princess.
Try to get started early because apparently after 12 o'clock, the winds just increase throughout the afternoon, so it becomes very uncomfortable, especially on the lake, I hear.
Yeah.
Kejimkujik National Park is the only Canadian park to be honored as a National Historic Site. Its dual title pays tribute to its long history as the heartland of Mi'kma'ki. For thousands of years, the Mi'kmaq traversed these waters, which connect the Bay of Fundy to the Atlantic coast. The park's name is a Mi'kmaq word, inspired by their mythology. While its name closely translates to little fairies, stories and petroglyphs found in the park illustrate that the rock spirits were more like gnomes or dwarves that help protect the natural world. We were super impressed with Kejimkujik's effort to preserve and celebrate the native peoples of this region, not only honoring their traditions and practices, but helping educate visitors on why this is such a sacred place that should be respected and protected. During the summer, visitors can stop by the woodworking shop for Todd Labrador, a renowned birch bark canoe builder who uses the ancient practices of his elders to make canoes. He personally gathers the birch wood and other materials needed to make the canoes. The process takes months to complete, requires boiling spruce roots to lash the bark together, and is finally sealed with spruce sap, bear fat, and ash.
This is going to be a bouillabaisse.
It's all going in.
We came over to Karen and Greg's to have a campfire tonight and some dinner. We bought seafood in Digby. I think we grabbed scallops, we got shrimp, and we're making like a seafood stew. Karen is. I ended up making some haddock with like garlic butter. It was absolutely delicious. We're just gonna have a good old-fashioned campfire. This is my favorite part of camping with friends, is getting to just hang out, chat, eat good food, and this is the perfect spot to do it.
Just look at that scallop.
Scallop. She did good. Karen did good.
Oh yeah.
It was delicious. Old-growth hemlock forests are extremely rare. It's a privilege to experience this special place, so please help protect it by staying on trail. It's been carefully designed so you can enjoy the majesty of the hemlocks without damaging fragile roots or plants. This old forest ecosystem is one of the most outstanding features in Kejimkujik. Only you can keep it that way. This grandmother tree is one of many old-growth trees in this forest, estimated to be around 400 years old. We felt grateful to get to experience its shade and enjoy the habitat, because soon these trees will no longer be here. Sadly, this hemlock forest is dying from an invasive beetle that can wipe out as much as 95% of the stand in as little as 3 years. This is a friendly reminder that wherever you happen to be enjoying the outdoors, do your part to help protect the area, using leave no trace practices and always burning firewood where you buy it. You guys having a little snack? Our arrival to Lunenburg has been quite interesting. It is a very blustery, wet day because a tropical storm has come through. I guess tropical storms are fairly common during hurricane season. A lot of times Nova Scotia gets like the remnants of hurricanes passing by. This one just popped up a few days ago, and the winds weren't too bad, but man, it was intense as we were driving on the highway. We made it though, and we are now at Lightship Brewery, which is a Harvest host. This brewery was recommended to us several times, so we are excited that we not only get to drink here, but stay here when we're finished.
It's a rainy day in Lunenburg, so we are drinking our way across the town. This is such a charming area. We're going to be doing a walking tour when the weather is more favorable tomorrow, but we're starting in Ironworks Distillery, which is a super cute distillery in this historic blacksmith shop. It's actually where they made a lot of the iron parts for the Blue Nose, which is like a huge part of Lunenburg's history. They have all different types, gins, whiskeys. They're known for their rums. They have an amazing maple rum. I'm trying a gin with blackberry. You can take tours here. Unfortunately, it was full when we arrived. So we're just doing some tastings. You can grab things to go. It's a really cool building. Even if you don't drink alcohol, you should at least stop inside. So cool.
Lunenburg's colorful historic buildings dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries are just one of the reasons it's among Nova Scotia's most popular tourist destinations. As UNESCO World Heritage Site, Old Town Lunenburg is steeped in maritime history. During our walking tour with Lunenburg Walking Tours, we explored the area's unique architecture and discovered the town's complex founding history marked by indentured servitude under British rule. The tour offered a wonderful introduction to Lunenburg and gave us a whole new appreciation for how important this town is in Canada's history.
If you come down to the wharf, you can see some of its incredible ships. Lunenburg is also known for its shipbuilding. It does so many ships for Hollywood. There was a famous movie with Marlon Brando. Pirates of the Caribbean ships were made here in Lunenburg. It's also home to the Blue Nose, which is probably the most famous ship in all of Canada. It's on the Canadian dime. It was built in 1921 in Lunenburg and sailed from here. It was in operation for about 20-25 years before it sank off of a reef in Haiti. They recreated the Blue Nose 2, which you can take cruises on certain days. You'll have to check the tour times. We'll have links for that below. But if you aren't able to go for a cruise, you can walk on the boat for free, and it's super, super cool to be able to be on such a iconic ship for Canadian history.
We're really sad we only planned one day in Lunenburg. Honestly, we would have loved to have spent several days here. It is so charming and a foodie city. There are loads of cute shops and several fantastic restaurants we wanted to visit. One spot we did really enjoy in our limited time here was Salt and Shaker. A must-order item from this cute waterfront deli is the fish cakes. This maritime favorite's made from potato, salted cod, and salted pork. It was a hearty meal to sustain the hardworking fishermen through their long days at sea.
We've officially made it to Grand Pré, which I am so excited to be here. This has such historical importance for Nova Scotia. It is also home to Wolfville and its most famous wine region. This is like a foodie mecca town. They have the Devour Food and Film Festival held here each year, and we're going to be doing a lot of wine tastings. This morning we went to Grand Pré National Historic Site, which is considered the ancestral homelands for the Acadian people. So the Acadians were French immigrants that came to Nova Scotia. They lived peacefully among the Mi'kmaq here, cultivating the land. They are responsible for creating these dikes around this peninsula. It kept the tide from encroaching and allowed them to have fertile cropland. They were able to graze cattle, and they really built like this thriving community. They stayed here peacefully for so long that they ended up branching away from the French and becoming their own people. So the Acadians are what are considered like native Nova Scotians other than the Mi'kmaq. They remained neutral throughout their entire time here. They didn't really partner with the French. They didn't really partner with the Mi'kmaq. They just kind of wanted to do their own thing. But when the British arrived, they required them to make an unconditional oath to the crown, and they said no, and as a result they deported them over the next 8 years. Almost 10,000 people were relocated to France, England. Some were sent all the way to Louisiana, where other Acadians resided from French influence in the past. They burnt the entire village down, so they had nothing to come back to. It was a super, super sad story. It's a very special thing for the Acadians. I think a lot of them return here to kind of see the ancestral lands and remember their past. A very iconic spot, and the Evangeline statue's right in front. She's like a pop culture icon for the Acadian people after a poem was written about the deportation process. Highly recommend. If you want, you can pay to get into the museum. It gives you also a movie, and you can get inside the church, but you can also walk the grounds for free, which is huge. It's like 14 acres. Now we're gonna go wine tasting. I love it so much. This is the coolest. Double-decker wine bus. This is our tour today. They're gonna take us to 4 wineries in the Wolfville area. We don't have to worry about drinking and driving. We don't have to worry about biking anywhere.
We just get to sit back and relax.
At our first winery, we got to try Tidal Bay, which is a special wine you can only get here in Nova Scotia from Appellation. They use Nova Scotian grown grapes, and it is blind taste tested every year. I think there's 22 wineries making Tidal Bay wine. We have yet to try this yet. It's typically a white wine. It can range from sweet to dry because it uses a different variety of grapes in every blend. But it's super, super good here. And this winery is so cute. It's in an old farmhouse for like 200 years ago. Second winery, Domaine Grand Pré. This is the oldest winery in this region. There was a vineyard here in the 70s, and the person who owns it now purchased it, shut it down, replanted a lot of the grapes over a 6-year period, renovated the building, and now they've reopened it, and it's this beautiful space. It also has a restaurant that is in the top 20 best winery restaurants in the world, which we have managed to score a spot at to get double duck fat fries.
The day quickly slipped away from us as we hopped from winery to winery, enjoying the good views, food, drinks, and fun conversations. We had a blast on the Magic Winery bus. The guides were super friendly and made sure we were really comfortable at every stop. We also loved that there was flexibility, so if we wanted to stay longer at any of the wineries, hop on the next bus after. If a full day of wine tasting isn't your thing, you can also explore several wineries along a beautiful bike path that stretches from Grand Pré National Historic Site to downtown Wolfville. But we absolutely loved this wine bus experience and would gladly do it again. Just be sure to check their schedule, reserve in advance, and get ready for an unforgettable time.
Now we head an hour south to Halifax, Nova Scotia's capital city. What a perfect day to explore Halifax. This is a stunning city. It's small, but it has everything you want out of a city. It's got cute shops. I've already stopped in all these like vintage shops. There's so much food diversity. We've seen every type of cuisine imaginable. And their waterfront district is gorgeous. They've completely revamped this area. They have new high-rise buildings, all of these cute restaurants, shops, bars. There's like art installations all along. There's hammocks, chairs you can just sit out on. And we came to one section where you can actually like walk into the ocean. It is cold, in case you were wondering.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
It's cold.
The water is freezing. I already wish we had more time to spend in Halifax. We're going to be here for 5 days. We are doing a few day trips from here because there's lots of like cute little areas that you can go to, a really fun little tidal experience. We're going to have about an hour north. We're technically staying in Dartmouth, which is just over the bridge from Halifax proper, but they have an amazing bike path that you can take from Dartmouth over to the ferry port, and you hop on like a 15-minute ferry and you're right in downtown Halifax on the waterfront. So if you are looking for a non-driving option, because parking here can be a little bit of a nightmare, so great. The waterfront district has a cruise port, so you will probably see several cruise ships coming in, and it can get really busy. We went to lunch at the Bicycle Thief, which is a really delicious Italian restaurant. The pastas we had were excellent, the dessert, the aperitifs, the digestivos, it was great. So if you're looking for a good spot, we do recommend it. But it was packed when we got there, and we noticed everyone left all at once and just flooded back to the cruise ship. If you aren't doing an RV road trip where you're coming through New Brunswick, everyone flies into Halifax. I think there's a few RV rental companies you can do. We've seen several people at the campground we're at picking up and dropping off their RV rentals so they can do their own little Nova Scotia road trip, which I think is such a fantastic idea.
That'd be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
If you're drawn to Canada's rich nautical history, make sure to visit the Maritime Museum in Halifax downtown waterfront. We decided to explore the colonial past of the city by walking 10 minutes up the hill to the Halifax Citadel National Historic Site. Originally built in 1749, this fortress was the first of its kind in Nova Scotia. Originally built by the British to protect their interest in the region. Over the next 100 years, the Citadel underwent 4 major reconstructions, resulting in the star-shaped structure we see today. If you can, plan your visit around noon when a cannon is fired, which is a centuries-old tradition that originally signaled British soldiers it was time for lunch.
This is a great site, well worth the entry. They do offer guided tours in French and English, but you can learn so much from the plaques. There's so many rooms that have like fantastic information. There's movies, and they have people in period garb in several of the areas that
can fill you in on what that room was used for, what it would have been like during that time. There was one guy playing the practice chanter, which is the pipe that connects to the bagpipe. There was no battles that took place here. The worst thing that actually happened in Halifax was an accident. The Halifax explosion in the early 1900s during the Great War. There was 2 ships and they ended up colliding. One caught on fire and there was a ton of ammunition inside and gunpowder. It ended up exploding and it was the largest man-made explosion prior to the atomic bomb. It killed over 2,000 people, left 6,000 people in Halifax homeless. It blinded a ton. The first institute for blind individuals in Canada happened here in Halifax right after that explosion. So it's a very important piece of Halifax's history. It's super tragic. But now we are going to venture in to get some food.
Halifax is full of incredible restaurants to enjoy. We'll be sharing our top picks in an upcoming blog post. For history lovers, one must-visit restaurant is the Press Gang Oyster Bar, which is inside one of Halifax's oldest buildings dating back to 1759. Since it was Saturday though, we decided to grab a bite to eat at the local farmer's market.
Oh man, I'm so excited for this. Apple cinnamon. This is like such a fantastic farmer's market. If you're coming to Halifax on the weekend, you have to come here. There's several throughout the city. There's also some in Dartmouth, but we came to the brewers of the old Alexander Keith Brewery, and it's got everything you could ever want. Baked goods, there's coffee, food vendors, there's like lots of arts and crafts, lots of fresh organic veggies. My little farmer's market loving soul is so happy. Look at this monster. It's very good. It's ball in a roll.
For a little more substance after our snacks at the market, we grabbed a donair, a Nova Scotia special that adds a sweet sauce on top of a gyro.
The fillings are delicious. The sauce is like super sweet. It's a really interesting combo having the two. I recommend getting the sauce on the side so you can put how much you want because it's a lot of sweetness. Is it my favorite thing I've ever eaten? Tasty, but I'm gonna say one and done. There's a ton of breweries for you to explore if you're into beer in Halifax. We came to the Good Robot. I'm drinking the jalapeno Mexican lager with a hint of lime. It is awesome. It's like perfectly spicy. There's also a cidery right around the corner that was fantastic. There's like a apple trail of Nova Scotia where they have a ton of different cider apple varieties that are being grown. And this place is just showcasing the best of the best. Now we're just gonna go enjoy some dinner with friends. We are absolutely loving Halifax. I wish we had more time. We could easily see ourselves spending like 2 weeks here. There's so many amazing parks and trails and beaches. It's truly a dream come true. About an hour's drive outside of Halifax is Peggy's Cove. This is one of the most popular places to visit, and it's perfect for a day trip. The drive out here is stunning. The lighthouse that sits out on Peggy's Point is the most photographed spot in all of Canada. They have a sign out front that even lets you know if there's parking spots available because it gets so packed. So prepare for that if you're coming during July or August. Luckily, we're here during, like the off season, middle of September. The weather could not be better today. It's not too crowded, and this place is adorable. It's a super small fishing village. It started here in the 1800s and it's built on this granite rock. So it's a really harsh place to have a community built. So all of the homes are built up on these rocks and just kind of in a really unique landscape, and it is so beautiful. There's also a ton of shops, which is very dangerous. I got us a really nice painting to go in our new home. We love buying artwork from the places we visit now so we can remember. Obviously, being a fishing village, it's all fantastic for seafood. So we're gonna grab some lunch before we head out. Fish and chips, but they have lobster, chowder, all of the good stuff you can expect. She's a monster. Restaurant here is known for its lobster rolls, and they're massive. They have a few different flavors: truffle, like naked, which I believe is just butter, Cajun, and then a traditional. We ended up going with Cajun because the guy said this was his favorite. Delicious. And it's so fun because we just saw lobsters walking around on the shore over there.
The harbor, yeah.
And now we're eating some. It's as fresh as it gets.
There are several tales about how Peggy's Cove got its name, but the one we enjoyed says it was named after the sole survivor of a mid-1800s shipwreck. Her name was Margaret, though she went by Peggy. After settling in the cove and marrying a local fisherman, locals would say they were off to visit Peggy of the Cove.
This morning we're doing something super fun. We are going tidal bore rafting. This is one of the top activities to do if you're doing a Nova Scotia road trip. The Bay of Fundy has the largest recorded tidal changes in the world. In some spots where we're going to be going, they have as much as a 50-foot tidal change. It happens extremely quickly, like in a matter of hours. So today we are going on a 2.5-hour tidal bore rafting. Imagine like whitewater rafting, except with the most orange, silty, muddy ocean water. We're gonna be getting some rain gear on. We have to have closed-toe shoes, which they had a bunch of shoes for us to use. I'm praying my clothes doesn't get completely ruined from this experience. I can't wait, I can't wait. We're going tidal bore rafting.
So excited.
The fam, y'all ready to get nasty?
Oh, so ready.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. Oh, they're gone. Wow. Made it.
We made it. Now we get off for 10-15 minutes before the tide comes in. We're right now on a sandbar, which is massive. Views all around are stunning. We can't capture this well on the GoPro. It's so wide, but we've already seen 3 eagles. Today it's gonna be about, I think he said 28-foot tide change. And the waves that we're gonna experience today are gonna be about 10 foot on the way back.
You can barely see it coming, but it's coming quick. Got there, I'm like, yes!
Tide's coming in! Oh my god, that sandbar we were on is gonna be gone in a minute!
Like 5. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Good. Hey, I haven't heard you sound like this since Michigan.
Oh my gosh, this feels so good and weird. You're going to lose it there.
You're not wet enough.
It's so cool. Nice.
Look at the form, look at the form. Yes.
So muddy. Let me see your bottom. Oh my heavens.
It's lubrication.
Your feet sink so far into this.
Oh my god, that was so much fun. You have to do this when you come to Nova Scotia. This was a 10 out of 10 for me. It's probably going to be my favorite experience of this whole trip. Being in those rapids and those waves when the water splashes you was just epic. And I equally loved the mudsliding. Like, I haven't felt like a kid like that in forever. We were both really nervous about it being an extreme tide. Also the weather, it's like middle of September. It was very chilly this morning, but everything was literally perfect. The waves were just the right intensity to like get totally splashed and overcome by a wave, but it still feel like safe and fun. So don't be nervous about the extreme tides. I do recommend that over normal ones. Just do it. We'll have links below for booking. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Now I'm gonna go shower in a very warm shower and get into some dry clothes.
The next day we hit the road and headed 4 hours north to Cape Breton Island, what many consider to be the crown jewel of Nova Scotia. With a rich Scottish heritage, the island is a remote area with incredible beaches, hiking, and home to one of Canada's most scenic drives, the Cabot Trail. We're going to be spending a week exploring the island, and given its size, we're breaking our stay up into 2 stops. The first being at McLeod's beach and campsite just north of Inverness.
We've officially made it to our last leg of the trip, which is Cape Breton Island. Consider the Highlands, it's the highest elevation, and it's just along breathtaking beaches and coves. Our first stop is at McLeod's campground. It's a private campground right along the beach. There's literally a private cove that we can hang out on, and even though it is mid-September and the leaves are changing all around us, it is like 76 degrees today, sunny. The water is only like 68 degrees. It is a perfect beach day. And we feel so lucky that we're getting to experience this late in the season. I honestly feel like September has been such a gift to us. Way less crowds. We've been able to like pop into all the activities without weeks or months long reservations. Last night we went and watched the sunset at a place called Blueberry Hill. It's this epic overlook. It's part of our campground. I don't think I've seen a better vista. It is stunning here. We're taking in every minute that we can. We're just hanging out at the campground because it's that beautiful. Although there are loads of fun hikes that you can do in the area. Today's goal is to relax on the beach. We're gonna play a little bit of bocce ball. We're gonna make some cocktails. We're having a tapas night tonight. We'll probably do another campfire.
I'll be your summer when you feel the cold. I'll be holding on, I won't let go.
I did it. Good job, babe.
Like your weekend clothes. You can spin me around the bicycle spokes. Which side of your bed you sleeping on? I hide in your head after you're gone. You try to shake me loose, do whatever you can. You're wrapped around your finger, got a hold in your hand. No matter what you do, whatever your plan, I'll be holding on. And won't let go.
After 3 blissful days, we headed north to experience the legendary Cabot Trail. This 186-mile highway winds through Cape Breton Highlands National Park, offering breathtaking views at every turn. While the loop traditionally begins and ends in Baddeck, with most recommending an east to west route, we started from the west. It took us about 3.5 hours to drive from Inverness to Ingonish, our base for the next few days. The drive is not for the faint of heart. It does require a park entrance fee and features steep, winding sections with grades as high as 14%. We took it slow in our RV, pausing at the numerous overlooks and taking in the jaw-dropping scenery. We'd heard the Cabot Trail was incredible, but it exceeded our expectations in every way.
We made it to a campground, which is Broad Cove Campground. We are on the east side of Cape Breton Island. It is a super big island. We have everything we could need here. They have laundry, bathrooms. We got full services at our site. I'm so excited to explore Cape Breton. It's going to be epic. This place is beautiful.
Well, you can drive 15 minutes in pretty much any direction from our campground and find a fun hiking trail, gorgeous overlook, or serene beach. Our first stop was to Black Brook Cove Beach. This beach is unique. Not only is it a protected cove, perfect for swimming, but it has a mix of alpine trees, rugged cliffs, sandy shores, and pebble beaches. It's also home to a waterfall that runs straight into the ocean. There are loads of hiking trails near the Black Cove Beach that are definitely worth your time, but no matter what, you should not miss the Skyline Trail. Located about an hour and 15 minutes from our campground on the west side of the park, Skyline Trail is one of the top hikes in all of Nova Scotia. Its popularity means the parking lot often reaches capacity on busy weekends, so plan to arrive early to secure your spot. There is designated RV parking, making it convenient to stop over as you're driving the Cabot Trail.
What a beautiful day though. Look at this view.
The hike has two options, a 4-mile out and back trail or 5.8-mile loop that's fairly flat until you reach the stairs.
We thought we got to the top up there. No, there's a huge thing of stairs to take you down to the real overlook.
As responsible hikers, it's crucial to remember that the Skyline Trail was once closed for years to recover from overuse. The rocky, windswept conditions and short growing season here already make it tough for the rare and beautiful flora to thrive. The boardwalk was specifically designed to protect this fragile habitat while allowing visitors to enjoy the trail's stunning beauty. Being here is a privilege, so please stay on trail, follow the park rules such as no drones, and pack out any trash you bring. We all have to do our part to preserve this special place for future generations.
Spectacular. You don't want to do the skyline if it's like raining or foggy, so we had to wait for the sun to come out. Unfortunately, it's a little bit backlit in the direction, so we can't show you the view in all of its glory. You just have to come here and do it yourself.
Our 3.5 weeks in Nova Scotia are over all too soon. There is so much more to discover here, you cannot see it all in one trip. When you're ready to start planning your Nova Scotia road trip, download our guide for even more amazing suggestions we didn't show here. Until next time, Nova Scotia.
There's also a cidery right. I think there's spice. I think there's spice.
Y'all are very, very, very.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's spicy, but there's a spice. There's a kick to it. Yes?
Super spicy. There's a spice.
Get out of here. Who are you even?
There's a
This
spice.
is Canton Waits.
Canton Waits.
Cheers, bro.
This is Greg. You guys already met him once,
Sorry.
but.
Bye.
I apologize. Do not apologize.
Trying to stay warm.
Trying to warm it up.
Well, I'm trying to get you on film. Trying to get you on film. This is might be some of the best footage I've ever gotten of you. Honestly.
Come in September, they said. It'll be warm, they said.
That's when it's warm.